I never thought of positional value as a debate between running backs and wide receivers, but maybe that's a conversation we need to have. Because John Eric Sullivan, the general manager of the Miami Dolphins, was asked how he feels about running backs getting paid, and he responded with this.
I think it's a good thing. I think when you're going to start paying players that are going to touch the ball 25, 30 times a game, that makes more sense than paying a guy that on a good day touches it 7.
And of course, the first response to that would be that not all touches are created equal. The average yards per carry in the NFL last year was 4.4, and the average yards per catch was 10.9. To put that number into perspective, let's look at the most explosive running back in football, De'Von Achane. Last year, he led the league in 10-plus yard runs with 40. And if you use that same 10-plus yard barometer for wide receivers, 18 guys had 40 catches or more of 10-plus yards. So we know that receiving the football is a more efficient way to gain yardage than rushing it. But here's the thing. NFL contracts already dictate this. The highest paid running back in the NFL, Saquon Barkley, has an average per year of $20.6 million. That would make him the 22nd highest paid wide receiver in the NFL, right above Jacoby Myers. When you look at the highest paid receiver in the NFL now in Jackson Smith-Njigba, you'll see that he's making $42.15 million a year, which is about double what Saquon's making, which means that the best running back in the league, in order to be an equal value contract to the best wide receiver, only needs to provide roughly half the value. And this is where I think the touches argument comes into play, because even though passing is much more efficient than running the ball is still roughly half of football, a little bit less than half on average. You look here at teams' run rates, only 4 teams ran the ball less than 40% of their offensive plays, and guess what? They were all bad. In that world where you're going to run the ball only a little bit less than you pass it, it appears that wide receivers, the best wide receivers in the NFL, from a touches perspective, are about half as valuable to the passing game as the best running backs are to the running game. You look at the number 1 wide receiver in the entire NFL in terms of target share, and it was Jackson Smith-Njigba with a rate of 35.82%. Meanwhile, you look at a player like Jonathan Taylor, who had 323 carries, and you calculate that over the total number of carries his team had, and it was 73% of their total carries were taken by Jonathan Taylor. Those crude calculations obviously aren't a final argument or anything definitive. They don't take into account the kind of gravity that a number 1 wide receiver can have in terms of getting other guys open, or the gravity that a running back can have in terms of bringing down a safety and allowing your passing game to flourish. But I will say this, the focal point of your running game is your running back. Meanwhile, the focal point of your passing game isn't your wide receivers, it's your quarterback 99% of the time, especially for the most successful teams, and I think that's why this argument makes sense.